Eu só quero a verdade, diga-me a verdade. John Lennon, Imagine, 1971. 7 de fevereiro de 1964, quando foi aos Estados Unidos, John Lennon foi recebido de braços abertos.
We meant more to kids than Jesus did.
No final dos anos 60, o governo americano começou a perseguir John Lennon.
The Lennons were on tape machines and phone buggers.
Ele sempre foi o mais político. Esta é a história de um Beatle que não fez concessões.
The FBI took down the words to the songs that Lennon sang.
E de agentes do governo que temiam que ele estivesse envolvido em complôs para perturbar uma eleição presidencial. É a história de cantores, espiões e segredos que continuam ocultos.
He was one of those allegedly dangerous radicals who the United States wanted to get rid of.
They're even changing their own rules.
This is the kind of treatment we would dish out to anybody.
Hoje, John Lennon em Revelações. Revelações, John Lennon. Março de 1966. Os Beatles haviam conquistado os Estados Unidos, mas o governo americano logo reagiria.
The Beatles were absolutely a cosmic force. I believe that there was something above, call it whatever you may, that was being channeled through them.
Eles exerciam sobre os fãs um efeito sem precedentes. Era a Beatlemania. 1966. John Lennon fala sobre o assédio dos fãs em uma entrevista em que observa: somos mais famosos do que Jesus. Seus comentários sobre rock e religião foram divulgados pela mídia e John Lennon mostrou que não era apenas mais um popstar.
When John made that statement about the Beatles were bigger than Christ, and that's when everybody took notice of John, because he was the most outspoken of the four guys. He would just speak whatever was on his mind. So I guess in this sense, he was always going to be watched more closely than any of the others.
Suas declarações controvertidas incomodaram a elite religiosa. E embora ele tenha se esforçado para se desculpar e explicar que não era contra a religião, adquiriu a reputação de rebelde e agitador. Em alguns casos, a reação a John Lennon foi contundente.
If you, as an American teenager, are offended by statements from a group of foreign singers which strike at the very basis of our existence as God-fearing, patriotic citizens, then we urge you to take your Beatle records, pictures, and souvenirs to the pickup points about to be named. On the night of the Beatles' appearance in Memphis, August 19th, they will be destroyed in a huge public bonfire at a place to be named soon.
I just didn't mean what everybody thinks I meant, you know. I'm not anti-Christ or anti-religion or anti-God, you know. We meant more to kids than Jesus did, or religion at that time. I wasn't knocking it or putting it down, I was just saying it as a fact. If it had said television is more popular than Jesus, I might have got away with it.
A preocupação com a segurança durante a turnê dos Beatles no país foi alta, mas aos poucos a polêmica diminuiu. No entanto, John Lennon causou uma impressão forte nos Estados Unidos.
The thing about John is, yeah, he was a bashful and shy person, but he also said what he thought all the time. He was fearless in terms of expressing his point of view, and he never saw an object of authority that he didn't want to rebel against or knock down.
Seu dom de despertar controvérsias levou o governo americano a rotulá-lo de subversivo.
Haircuts are un-American. Well, it was very observant of them, because we aren't American, actually.
John Lennon just had a very different sensibility. I think he was, by nature, sardonic and sarcastic.
It seems a bit silly to be in America and for none of them to mention Vietnam as if nothing was happening.
Revelações. Os Beatles receberam tantas ameaças de morte depois dos comentários de Lennon sobre Jesus que pensaram em cancelar o show em Memphis. Não só as declarações de John Lennon sobre religião e sociedade eram controvertidas. Seu envolvimento com a artista Yoko Ono provocou brigas entre os fãs da banda.
Yoko Yoko could be very intimidating. She was very mysterious to the majority of the folks that worked for her. It was obvious that John was madly in love with her, and she was madly in love with him. She turned out to be his wife, his lover, his mother, his collaborator, his investment banker.
She's a lovely mother to me, a lovely mother. Well, that's too long, you see.
I know.
18 de outubro de 1968, a polícia de Londres invade um apartamento do baterista Ringo Starr, onde John e Yoko estavam morando.
John and Yoko, of course, the first time I know of them sort of having trouble with authorities when they were arrested for dope at Ringo had this sort of cellar or first floor place somewhere in London.
A batida foi comandada pelo detetive Norman Pilcher, que já havia sido manchete por prender os Rolling Stones e outros astros do rock por porte de drogas.
The Beatles' worldwide popularity had crested, and it had become time to tear down that which we had created. I think John Lennon and the Beatles then became very obvious targets for the establishment. They were no longer the Fab Four, the Mop Tops. They were men who had to be brought down to size.
Quando John e Yoko finalmente deixaram a polícia entrar, um cão farejador encontrou uma pequena quantidade de haxixe, ou resina de maconha, escondida num baú.
John was quite noble, of course, aside from announcing publicly how misused and abused they had been. He took full responsibility for everything, saying that Yoko had nothing to do with anything.
Everywhere in the world now, the musicians are gigging.
Lennon recebeu apenas uma multa equivalente a $200, mas a prisão por drogas o perseguirá anos depois nos Estados Unidos. Revelações. O sargento Pilcher comete perjúrio e é preso, mas a Grã-Bretanha a si mesmo não anula a condenação de Lennon. Em 1968, ao mesmo tempo que John e Yoko são acusados de porte de drogas em Londres, nos Estados Unidos estudantes vão às ruas contra o governo americano e a guerra do Vietnã. É ano de eleição e muitos decidiram se manifestar na Convenção Nacional do Partido Democrata em Chicago.
Mayor Daley refused permits for what would have been a very, very large demonstration. So it became a struggle to maintain the right to protest in the streets when the permits were suspended, which meant you could be arrested at any moment. That led to about 5 days of street confrontations. One person killed, many people beaten up, even reporters, because they didn't want the world to see this.
Tom Hayden era membro do Chicago 7, líderes que estavam sendo processados por conspiração.
The chief street tactician is Tom Hayden, student leader.
But you're going to march in?
Are you expecting trouble?
We expect to march. What does we expect trouble all the time.
We're coming to Chicago by the tens of thousands, whether or not there are any permits given.
After Nixon was elected a few months later, having promised to put an end to this disorder, our case came to the top of the list, and we were indicted and accused of conspiring, which legally meant operating in parallel, to create these riots at the convention.
Revelações. Um congressista pede que o FBI investigue Lennon por obscenidade após aparecer nu na capa de seu disco de 1969. 1969. O Chicago 7 apela e as acusações são retiradas. O novo presidente, Richard Nixon, afirma que sua prioridade é manter a lei e a ordem.
I'm against violence, period. Violence begets violence, as far as I'm concerned. It's been proved by what's going on in the States and the protest marches in Grosvenor Square in London.
John e Yoko criticaram abertamente os protestos violentos e se manifestaram de modo pacífico, ficando dias na cama em defesa da paz em Amsterdã e Montreal.
I'm using my money and my time to promote peace. And when the money runs out, the time runs out, we should have peace by then.
Mas não foi o movimento pacifista que levou John Lennon e Yoko Ono para os Estados Unidos. estavam em busca da filha de Yoko, Kyoko Cox.
Kyoko Cox was Yoko Ono's daughter by her first marriage to her husband, Tony Cox. I remember Kyoko being a beautiful little girl. One day, Kyoko and Tony Cox disappeared into the ether.
Para voltar a ver Kyoko, John e Yoko tiveram de seguir sua pista nos Estados Unidos. 23 de março de 1970, John Lennon e Yoko Ono vão para Nova York em busca da filha dela. É lá que se reúnem com os esquerdistas radicais e é lá que o FBI passa a investigá-los. Apesar de pacifistas, os dois estão prestes a participar de um jogo muito perigoso. Setembro de 1971. O americano médio não confia em John Lennon. Devido a seus comentários sobre religião e a sua prisão por drogas, ele deixara de ser o bom moço de Liverpool que haviam recebido anos antes. Agora uma missão o levava de volta ao país.
Yoko was desperately trying to find Kyoko, a daughter she had with a previous husband, Tony Cox, who had taken her away and was hiding her.
Nem John, nem Yoko eram cidadãos americanos e nenhum deles sabia como achar Tony Cox e Kyoko. A busca levaria anos.
I think it was a very personal issue with John and Yoko in trying to find Kyoko. I do believe that they had put private detectives on the case.
1971, John e Yoko se instalam em Nova York com o fim de encontrar Kyoko e começar vida nova nos Estados Unidos. Imediatamente são procurados por nova-iorquinos modernos e radicais como Jerry Rubin e Abbie Hoffman, dois colegas de Hayden no Chicago 7. John e Yoko não sabiam no que estavam entrando.
They were involved with the Black Panthers, they were supportive of the Chicago 7. I mean, I saw people hanging around the apartment all the time, Jerry Rubin, Bobby Seale, Angela Davis.
Arquivos do FBI, depois divulgados, mostram que o órgão já espionava alguns dos novos amigos de John e Yoko. Eram esquerdistas americanos radicais que defendiam a revolução.
These are the people I read in the newspaper. I would not think that I was going to see them, but there they were. And I mean, there'd be times where I think it was Angela Davis's birthday or something, and Yoko would say to me, well, take this present and bring it on over to her tonight. And I said, okay, never thinking anything about it except, wow, I'm going to be taking this to a person I'm reading about in the newspaper.
O maior astro era o próprio John Lennon. Rubin e Hoffman o convenceram a apoiar e até se apresentar nos eventos que organizavam.
I was the little innocent one, because I was, I guess, the little straight one, so they always trusted me to doing all the different things around with John and Yoko. I didn't think about the danger, so I didn't sense it, but I also knew that there was something out there.
Revelações. Elvis Presley diz ao FBI: a aparência suja e a música sugestiva dos Beatles deram início aos problemas com os jovens de hoje. O FBI e o Departamento de Justiça observavam as amizades de John Lennon. Ativistas como Angela Davis, Jerry Rubin e Abbie Hoffman já eram classificados como subversivos perigosos.
So there was a full court press by the best and brightest of our intelligence agencies to quell these disturbances by any means necessary.
Nos anos 60, protestos violentos e até não violentos incutiram muito medo na sociedade americana. Em segredo, o FBI investigava adversários políticos do governo, inclusive pessoas como John Lennon. Só anos mais tarde, os arquivos foram divulgados e os ativistas souberam que eram constantemente vigiados.
I finally got my FBI files that were collected on me, 22,000 pages worth, through 1976. And the first file was when I was an innocent student editorial writer at the University of Michigan. I had made a critical comment about the House Un-American Activities Committee, and an FBI agent clipped it, sent it to J. Edgar Hoover.
A existência de arquivos do FBI sobre pessoas como Tom Hayden e John Lennon é conhecida na sociedade americana. Mas até hoje ninguém sabe quantos arquivos foram criados. São os registros da agência criada para combater o terrorismo interno e crimes internacionais.
The FBI was also responsible, and the FBI is responsible today for any kind of threat against the United States from within as well as from without. So if you have radical groups, or if you have groups that want to overthrow the U.S. government, for example, or they want to engage in terrorism, that all comes under the umbrella of the FBI.
Os líderes da esquerda nos anos 60 eram uma ameaça para o programa político do presidente Richard Nixon e do diretor do FBI, J. Edgar Hoover.
During the J. Edgar Hoover period, the FBI tended to confuse legitimate political dissent with efforts to overthrow the government. So if somebody, for example, demonstrated against the Vietnam War and didn't like the government, he immediately came under suspicion from the FBI.
Revelações. O FBI planeja neutralizar os líderes da contracultura, alardeando sua homossexualidade.
Jerry Rubin, this is like a dream.
Dezembro de 1971, Jerry Rubin convence John e Yoko a participar de um show em benefício de um radical chamado John Sinclair.
John Sinclair was a political activist in Michigan who was sentenced to 10 years in jail for possession of 2 marijuana cigarettes. Obviously, it wasn't the marijuana cigarettes that got him that sentence. It was his political convictions. John was contacted, actually it was Yoko, was contacted by Jerry Rubin and asked if he would go up and sing at this benefit concert that was put together to draw attention to the plight of this guy who was in jail for 10 years for this almost misdemeanor.
Para Rubin, era a primeira etapa de uma turnê nacional anti-Nixon.
This rally is going to be the first of prison rallies all across this country, demanding that they lay down the bars and let all the prisoners out.
This program is not for winding down
No
the
thing, nowhere,
Richard
no
Nixon.
Getting rid of Richard Nixon.
This man Nixon and his war makers.
Everybody knows.
And I wish that Nixon knew it.
It was called the Free John Sinclair Concert. That was the first time that they tried to connect this project of anti-war organizing with music. It was a fantastic event. Stevie Wonder, Commander Cody, MC5. They had speeches by Jerry Rubin, by Bobby Seale, leaders of the New Left.
The only solution to pollution is a people's humane revolution.
Usando a fama e a influência desses artistas, organizadores como Jerry Rubin esperavam provocar manifestações contra a guerra do Vietnã durante uma turnê nacional, que terminaria com milhares de manifestantes na Convenção Republicana em San Diego, em agosto de 1972. Se dependesse de Rubin, a manifestação na Convenção Republicana faria a que houvera em Chicago parecer um domingo no parque. Revelações. O FBI proíbe a letra da canção de protesto de Lennon, John Sinclair, mas ele a inclui em seu disco de 1972, Sometime in New York City.
We came here not only to help John and to spotlight what's going on, but also to show and to say to all of you that apathy isn't it, and that we can do something.
The FBI was in the audience, took down every word that every person said, including the words to the songs that Lennon sang on that occasion. Since this was the kind of trial run of the kind of concert they were hoping to do in lots of other places, it's very significant.
A possibilidade de uma série de shows pacifistas fez com que John Lennon fosse ainda mais vigiado. Ele estava aliado a um grupo combativo e radical, O FBI desconfiava que ele quisesse ajudar a derrubar o governo e o arquivo do músico começou a crescer. Janeiro de 1972, Nova York. O presidente Nixon comanda os dias mais violentos e trágicos da Guerra do Vietnã. John Lennon e Yoko Ono unem forças com alguns dos mais famosos ativistas anti-guerra, levando o FBI a abrir um novo arquivo contra eles.
John wasn't just perceived as a threat. John was a real threat to the United States because he wanted to use his power as the gigantic celebrity that he was and who had the ear of hundreds of millions of people around the world to try to bring the war to the end.
Da perspectiva do FBI, a mudança social radical proposta pelos ativistas no final dos anos 60 e começo dos 70 ameaçava a lei e a ordem. Revoltas e atentados à bomba agitavam a sociedade e um líder carismático como John Lennon podia incitar muitos à ação.
This was significant because 1972 was the first year that 18-year-olds were given the right to vote in the United States. Before that, it was 21. Everybody thought young people were a strong anti-war constituency and therefore an anti-Nixon constituency, but also it was widely believed that young people were not that likely to register and vote. So the problem was, if you were at least in the anti-Nixon camp, the anti-war camp, how to register young people to take advantage of this opportunity. Lennon wanted to help.
Bring you a message of peace and love. John Lennon and Yoko.
A esquerda decidiu se manifestar na convenção republicana marcada para agosto de 1972.
There was endless cabals taking place with Jerry Rubin and Bobby Seale and all. The idea was to, break up the convention.
Revelações. O FBI relata que Lennon doou $75 mil a um grupo da nova esquerda com o fim de tumultuar a Convenção Nacional Republicana. A Guerra do Vietnã continuava. Os protestos se tornavam mais violentos e o governo mais opressor. Memorandos do FBI mostram a crescente irritação do governo com os manifestantes.
This is an FBI memo dated May 27th, 1966. It says that in trying to expose, disrupt, and otherwise neutralize the activities of the New Left, the Bureau is faced with a rather unique task, because first, the New Left is difficult to actually define, and second, because of the complete disregard by New Left members for moral and social laws and social amenities. It is believed that the non-conformism in dress and speech, the neglect of personal cleanliness, the use of obscenities, printed and uttered, publicized sexual promiscuity, experiments with the use of drugs, filthy clothes, shaggy hair, wearing of sandals, beads, and unusual jewelry tend to negate any attempt to hold these people up to ridicule.
Mas havia uma grande diferença entre John Lennon e ativistas como Tom Hayden. John Lennon não era cidadão americano. Por mais rico e poderoso que fosse, estava no país com um visto temporário e podia ser pressionado a sair. Revelações. O FBI alega que John e Yoko gravaram uma fita de meia hora para a rádio norte-vietnamita. A maneira como Lennon era vigiado era um mistério em 1972. Ele, Yoko e amigos tinham suspeitas, mas levaria décadas para que os arquivos iniciados no show para a libertação de John Sinclair fossem divulgados.
John was constantly, it's hard to say exactly, but we perceive that he was constantly, certainly in the States, having the line tapped. There was one guy out front in Bank Street who was taking apart and putting together a motorcycle forever. I'm absolutely sure it was his job to be there.
It's kind of strange, and to look back, it's like, I was in danger and I had no idea. My phones were tapped. I kept hearing clicks on the phone, never thinking in a million years that could be somebody tapping into my lines as well.
Occasionally, I mean, when I would call, for example, he'd, say things like, be careful, the phone's being tapped. And, ha, ha, ha. But I think there was some truth behind it.
John e Yoko chegaram a falar sobre essa vigilância no programa de Dick Cavett.
I think it was a given that the Lennons were on little screens and tape machines and phone buggers and all kinds of things. Those things are famously done to people like them. The ongoing two-headed monster of the missing daughter and the administration trying to upend their lives and get them out of the country was an awful emotional burden to have to bear. And they spoke of that privately, if not publicly.
Revelações. Apesar de meses de vigilância e investigações, quase todos os relatórios do FBI se enganam quanto ao endereço de John Lennon. A prisão por porte de drogas em 1968 já tornara a vida difícil para Lennon. E a lei americana era muito rígida com usuários de drogas.
When John wanted to get into the States first and to move there, we had tremendous problems getting visas and whatnot. And it didn't help that in public he was liable to say anything about the Vietnam War.
O presidente Nixon era o tipo de autoridade que John Lennon adorava provocar. Uma série de shows anti-Nixon deram a Lennon uma audiência sem precedentes.
He had a talent for rubbing the powers that be the wrong way. He'd do it in his sleep. He's a natural.
John Lennon não sabia, mas o arquivo sobre ele estava crescendo. Havia espiões infiltrados entre seus amigos e suas canções eram examinadas em busca de sentidos ocultos. O objetivo da espionagem era somente um: expulsar Lennon dos Estados Unidos. Depois que se aproximara de membros importantes da esquadra radical como Jerry Rubin e Bob Seale, John Lennon atraíra a atenção e o ódio da direita. Ele era pressionado para sair do país antes que usasse sua enorme fama para influenciar a eleição presidencial de 1972.
If you stay in the country, will you pursue your activism?
Well, I don't know what active is, we're sort of like journalists who sing and write about it. I'd always look at every offer to help very thoroughly and decide the pros and cons.
Fevereiro de 1972, John e Yoko estão sempre na mídia. Não só participam de programas como o de Dick Cavett e Mike Douglas, como aparecem nos noticiários noturnos. Os dois desviam a luz dos holofotes dirigidas a eles para amigos de esquerda como Jerry Rubin.
Jerry Rubin. It's like a whole cultural renaissance is about to begin. Because all the people that say that the movement of the revolution is over, they ought to see what's going on right here, because it doesn't look over to me. This is like a dream.
Mas era John Lennon quem atraía as multidões. Revelações. Os agentes do FBI gravam as aparições de Lennon e seus amigos na televisão para monitorar seus comentários contra Nixon. 4 de fevereiro de 1972, enquanto John e Yoko apoiam seus amigos de esquerda, um memorando confidencial circula entre o Serviço de Imigração e o Senado.
There was a memo sent to the Nixon White House. It came from Strom Thurmond, the Republican senator from South Carolina. It outlined Lennon's plan for this national concert tour to register young people to vote.
O memorando dizia: líderes radicais da nova esquerda pretendem usar John Lennon para promover festivais de rock e comícios. Isso atrairá enormes quantias de dinheiro para os cofres da nova esquerda e levará inevitavelmente a um conflito entre este grupo organizado e agentes da polícia de San Diego.
Unquote. And it concluded, if Lennon were deported, it would be a strategic countermeasure. That's a quote from one of the documents I managed to get a copy of.
Um mês depois, o governo passou a fazer de tudo para expulsar John Lennon do país. Até que os arquivos de Lennon fossem divulgados, somente documentos públicos explicavam o que acontecia. Revelações. O FBI criou para John Lennon um folheto no estilo procurado, com a foto de outra pessoa, um amigo dele, David Peel. 6 de março de 1972, o Serviço de Imigração envia uma ordem de deportação para John Lennon e Yoko Ono.
Well, yeah, we're a bit shocked, you know.
Why?
Because our daughter's here. We still haven't found her. We got
That
a
means
piece of
that I
paper.
can't see my daughter. It's a civil case and I have custody papers, but I can't find her.
Do you have any idea where the child is right
She
now?
was in Texas when Mr. Cox opened the proceedings there, but as we began to win, he left. And we don't know where he is, and nobody knows where he is, neither the sheriff nor the judge who put the order. No, nobody's got an idea.
And if we have to go out of this country now, that means that it's synonymous to losing my child, you see, it really is. And I really don't want to do that. So it's very important for us.
Kyoko.
All I care is really her happiness, so I just feel that she needs to see her mother as well as to see her father.
John Lennon was subject to deportation by the United States because allegedly of some drug use in England. I was a consultant on the case and worked with his very excellent deportation lawyer, Leon Wildys, in preventing that deportation.
A prisão por drogas em 1968 tornou John Lennon e Yoko Ono vulneráveis, já que, segundo a lei americana, a condenação por posse de drogas era motivo para alguém ser deportado do país.
Isn't this a relatively minor kind of a charge to hold against a person?
The conviction for marijuana? No. Unfortunately, the law denounces it, and while that stands, there's no form of relief that's possible in his case. This is the law, and there's no way of overcoming that.
It was, of course, a total pretense. He was being deported because of who he was and his songs and his involvement in the peace movement. He was one of those people, one of those allegedly dangerous radicals that the United States wanted to get rid of.
They're even sort of changing their own rules to get us, you know, just because we're peaceniks, really.
You don't think there's any possibility that the government is trying to harass the Lennons?
Absolutely not. This is the kind of treatment we would dish out to anybody convicted of a narcotics offense.
A few friends of ours in the pop business have exactly the same conviction as me and are allowed to come and go as free as they like. They just don't happen to have the same point of view as me, or they don't state it.
Will you now stop speaking out against the war?
No, nothing will stop me, and whether I'm here or wherever I may be, I'll always have the same feelings and say what I feel, you know.
Revelações. Agentes do FBI acusam John e Yoko de esconder Kyoko como pretexto para evitar a deportação. Muitas celebridades saíram em defesa de John e Yoko.
After they'd been on one of the two shows I did with them, he said, "Do you mind coming down and sort of standing up for me in front of the legal folks in the court?" And I didn't hesitate, I hope. I said, absolutely.
You know, that drug bust was the only thing that the government had to go on to say, we don't allow offenders to come in, you know, these drug offenders to come into the country. They were trying very hard to keep John out, and he was fighting it all the way. I mean, it did scare him. He really wanted to stay in this country.
Well, I've met a lot of New Yorkers who complain about it, but nobody moves out. It's the greatest place on earth.
Really, we're artists, you know. For artists, it's really a very stimulating place.
New York is what Paris was in whenever Paris was for artists, and this is the center of the art world, and we want to be in the center.
A vigilância secreta continuou, mas Lennon conseguiu ficar no país. Logo, os segredos da vigilância seriam revelados. Um assassinato brutal levaria à abertura dos arquivos do FBI sobre John Lennon. John Lennon continuava sendo investigado pelo FBI. Até então havia apenas boatos espalhados pelo memorando de Strom Thurmond. Informações como quem e por que Lennon era investigado ainda eram confidenciais. E as provas estavam nos arquivos secretos.
Lennon claimed that this drug record was just a pretext for kicking him out of the country because of his political activism, his anti-war stand, and his outspoken criticism of Nixon. What Lennon said seemed plausible. On the other hand, the law was the law at that time.
A investigação continuava secreta, mas tinha efeitos profundos. John Lennon nunca encabeçou a série de shows. A explosiva manifestação na Convenção Nacional Republicana de 1972 não chegou a acontecer. Richard Nixon foi reeleito por ampla margem de votos.
So what happened in the immigration court, Lennon was constantly under a 60-day order to leave the country, starting in basically February 1972, and they would keep getting that delayed and extended, but for almost 2 years, the threat of deportation within a month or two was hanging over his head continuously.
A controvérsia terminou após um longo processo legal com o fim de obter o green card para o famoso casal. Depois de anos de batalhas judiciais, em 1976, John Lennon e Yoko Ono conquistaram o direito de viver nos Estados Unidos. Revelações. O FBI fecha o arquivo sobre Lennon mencionando seu afastamento de atividades revolucionárias e sua rejeição por radicais de Nova York. Dezembro de 1980.
Former Beatle John Lennon was shot and killed in front of his home on Manhattan's Upper West Side tonight.
John Lennon was shot at 1 West 72nd Street. He was removed to Roosevelt Hospital.
John Lennon is one of the saddest stories, the what if he had lived, but also what if the FBI had not gone after him? I think everybody remembers him as an artist and a musician, and a declining number of people remember that he was considered an enemy of the state.
It's the only case I won that I wish I had lost. If I had lost that case, John Lennon would have been deported to England, and Chapman wouldn't have been able to shoot him on the streets of Central Park.
A morte de John Lennon chocou o mundo. Para milhões de pessoas, ele era mais do que um compositor ou um astro do rock. Era o ícone do movimento pacifista.
They're just saying that to get people to leave. He's not dead. John Lennon can't be dead.
It's like shooting a friend. You know, it's like a death in the family.
It really happens. John Lennon was the greatest person in the world.
He held aloft a light in a world made dark by war and violence.
A morte violenta de John Lennon negava todos os ideais pelo qual ele lutara, e sua idade tornava a perda ainda mais trágica. A voz de uma geração fora calada.
Well, I was a Lennon fan, of course. I'm part of the generation that grew up with the Beatles, and when Lennon was shot in December of 1980, I wanted to write something about him.
1981. O professor John Wiener pede que o FBI divulgue os arquivos sobre John Lennon. Procura a União Americana pelas Liberdades Civis, que usa a Lei da Liberdade de Informação, aprovada em 1966.
It says that not only does the government belong to the people, but the government's documents belong to the people. And if the government has any document that you want, you have a right to request it, and they are obligated to give you a copy unless the document you requested falls under a very narrow number of exemptions.
O FBI forneceu as páginas que julgou aceitável divulgar. Muitas estão carregadas de marcas pretas usadas para esconder informações delicadas.
So the FBI says, we have this file, 275 pages, we're withholding most of 200 pages or something like that under these various exemptions, mostly the national security exemption. You have a right to appeal. If your appeal is denied, you have a right to go to court.
Revelações. O FBI levou 20 anos para divulgar um relatório de um informante segundo o qual amigos de Lennon tinham um papagaio treinado para dizer "é isso aí". A batalha se estendeu por décadas. Agentes do FBI foram depostos, julgamentos foram realizados e aos poucos todo o arquivo do FBI foi entregue ao professor Wiener.
We have two documents side by side. The page of the Lennon FBI file that was originally released to us, mostly blacked out. And then a same page that was released under the settlement where you can see exactly what they were keeping secret all those years.
As primeiras páginas divulgadas pelo FBI não sustentavam a ideia de que Lennon fosse uma ameaça para os Estados Unidos, invalidando a censura por motivo de segurança nacional. A segunda razão para não divulgar os documentos era proteger a identidade dos informantes do FBI. Mas o Wiener ganhou uma aliada inesperada.
Out of the blue, I get a phone call from a woman who says she's Julie Maynard and that she was one of the FBI's confidential informants supplying information about John Lennon.
Mais páginas seriam divulgadas.
And so we submitted a statement to the court from Julie Maynard in which she said, "This is who I am. To the extent the government wants to keep my identity secret, that's not for my benefit they're doing that." And once again, I think that undermined any surface appeal that the government's argument had.
Uma seção do arquivo indica que o FBI sabia que o casal procurava Kyoko, a filha de Yoko Ono, que desaparecera.
This actually comes up in the FBI file in a couple of places that they're trying to find Kyoko.
O envolvimento de Lennon com drogas também consta dos arquivos.
Lennon, it says, is known to be a user of narcotics known as downers. And if Lennon were to be arrested on possession of narcotics charges, he would become more immediately deportable. And this information should be disseminated to the appropriate police agencies, especially in Miami, where the Republican National Convention was going to be held. This seems to me like a proposal to set Lennon up for a drug bust so they can get him out of the country before the election.
Revelações. O chefe do Serviço de Imigração pede demissão, protestando que recebera mais poder para perseguir Lennon do que os nazistas. O último segredo do arquivo do FBI sobre John Lennon é que a segurança nacional e a privacidade dos informantes eram questões secundárias. O governo protegia seu próprio direito de manter segredo por motivos políticos.
We know that in the highest reaches of the Nixon administration, all the way up to the president, including his top advisors, there was genuinely paranoid fear about the impact of John Lennon and an effort to deport him and remove him from the country solely based on his political efficacy. At times it went to ridiculous lengths.
And the thing that is the most interesting commentary is that the FBI seems to have terminated its COINTEL program on Lennon immediately the week after Nixon was reelected in November 1972.
The FBI was working along with the Nixon White House and the Immigration Service to try to build the case to deport Lennon. That's really what Lennon's FBI file is about.
So it was all about using an undercover agency to hound somebody, an artist, from bringing his enormous authority and talent into politics during an election.
Mas a história dos arquivos do FBI sobre John Lennon não termina aqui. 10 das 275 páginas originais ainda não foram divulgadas.
The 10 pages that are still withheld and that the ACLU is still fighting the release of, they have told us, are being withheld because they contain information provided by a foreign government under an explicit promise of confidentiality. We're not even allowed to know the name of the foreign government. That is classified. Now, we can speculate, it's probably not Afghanistan, it's probably Britain.
Décadas após sua morte, novos segredos sobre a vigilância de John Lennon continuam vindo à luz. Talvez Lennon tivesse isso em mente quando pediu em uma canção Digam-me a Verdade. Em memória de John Lennon, 1940-1980.